Great. So welcome. I'm Rhonda Mckeever. I'm the chairman of Cure JM. Appreciate you being here today. I want to share a little story, and I think it's probably a story you'll be able to connect to. So this was 2002. This is my daughter, Megan. And 2002, she was a typical kind of 2.5-year-old having fun at preschool, always full of smiles and everything. But, then all of a sudden, this pesky little rash all of a sudden came about. And after about 4 doctors and about 4 or 5 months, we finally got down to the mystery. So on October 2nd, 2002, we found ourselves in the hospital doing a pretty aggressive treatment, and our daughter was having some significant challenges with this diagnosis called juvenile myositis. So then we learned that there was different treatments, and she had some pretty aggressive treatments, but she had to have a feeding tube for about 6 months or so because she couldn't swallow and she was aspirating. And at that time, as a 2.5-year-old, she didn't know any different. Look at her. She didn't have any concerns about her little Mickey tube and that, and her brother just kind of got on with life with our new normal. And she just did things differently. She had to be propped up on the couch, and we had to put, stuff around her so she wouldn't fall over. But she still colored, and she still did all the things that she wanted to do, and 2.5 didn't know any different. So that was 2002. Play it forward. We've been on this JM journey for the last 16 years as a family. There she is now. Remember that little Mickey tube with little brother on the floor? Now her younger brother towers over her. So this was at the conference last year. They're both wearing tutus during the Walk Strong event last year. This was graduation last Friday. Still having a great time together, although now that he's kind of 16, he wants to just be cool. Family, you can't take all things too seriously in that. We still have a ton of fun. She looks great. She's feeling great. And I'm very proud to say that I have a high school graduate that's going on to study health sciences and most likely major in physical therapy so she can take care of us in older age. But I think her JM has given her greater appreciation for the health sciences and taking care of others because she's been a benefactor of physical therapy. So at these conferences, we keep things formal and informal. And one of the things that we've started adding to these conferences, and yesterday there was a panel, and I was at the George Washington University, attended the medical conference there where we had a bunch of doctors there sharing the advancements of JM research and grand rounds, and a lot of attendance by other doctors that haven't had exposure to JM, so that kind of educational piece. But I wanted to leave yesterday so I could attend the young adult teen panel that we had as a breakout, because I attended it last year as well, and it was something we added new to the program. And I know you guys all can relate to some shape or form of this journey I just shared. Some journeys with JM are very short, some are long, like ours, or even longer. But on that panel, we had these young adults and teens, and similar themes that came out last year as well. But I thought for the introduction and kicking off today's events, that I thought it was worth sharing some common themes. No names for any of the young adults and teens that were on that panel. Still keeping the anonymous and no names, but for the parents that weren't in that room, or with the parents that have the younger children that are at the 2.5 or that younger age. Here was 3 themes that came out of that panel, and like I said, similar theme the year before, is that what these kids expressed on that panel was that they have a greater appreciation for things. These kids say they have a greater appreciation for things, even the simple things. One of the participants shared that even just every day she walks down 3 sets of stairs to get out of her building. Every day she walks down those 3 stairs. She has a greater appreciation for walking down those stairs because she remembers when she couldn't, and it makes her happy. Another thing that they came out was, for all of us parents out there, they're like, for parents, be positive and just try and keep things as normal as possible. And I can tell you, that is one thing that we did through this whole 16-year journey. We still do our beach vacation. We just don't go to the beach during the prime hours. We bring a tent. We bring extra protection. We limit our hours. But we still do all the things that we loved doing before JM and continue on. We just sometimes modify them. But that was the advice of the kids from the parents. Be positive. Keep things as normal as possible. But then I'd say the other third theme that came out was that all the kids along the panel that passed the microphone down, each one of them said in their own words about, the question was, how has having JM made you different than maybe kids that haven't had a chronic disease or had to deal with what you're dealing with? And all of them pretty much said in their own words how it made them stronger. But one of the panelists went even a step further. This panelist said, yeah, I agree, it's made me stronger, but went on to say, than anybody with passion. And so I know none of us wish that we were at a conference on Saturday morning, learning more about this disease, but there could be worse things in life. That's my silver lining and way of getting through it. But these kids are resilient, and I think all of us being here, you're already showing efforts of being positive and learning more, and I hope that you'll be inspired and see that there's great hope given the momentum and the things that are being accomplished, okay? And these kids are just incredibly, incredibly resilient. So welcome. This is going to be a little interaction, and I've done this in prior years, but there's a objective of this because first of all, I'd like to welcome our first-time attendees, people that are newly diagnosed, like in the last year. So if this is your first time coming to a Cure JM conference, can you just stand up for me? Okay. Wow. So if I look around the room, it's about half the room. It's about half the room that stood up there. Okay. Now I know we have a number of families here that have been here that have come to 3 or more Cure JM conferences. Can those people that have been here to multiple conferences also stand up? Okay. So all those people that stood up the first time, and you just saw the individuals that stood up this time, those are the people you want to talk to because they've been here before, they've been down this journey before, longer than you, and we have so much to learn from each other. And that's why we intentionally, some of these panels and breakout groups, we have families leading them because we have so much to learn ourselves because we deal with it every day. So we bring doctors because they have these great medical knowledge and talents, and they can tell one side of the story. But when you live with it every day, we can tell a different kind of story and we can support each other. So that's what it's all about. Increasingly, we have a number of grandparents here. Where's the grandparents? Let's see the grandparents stand up. Having grandparents attend this is incredibly, we feel incredibly appreciative that they come, they care. It makes it easier on us because sometimes it's hard as a parent explaining all of this, and it's just hard to kind of get it. So having all this grandparent support and come and year after year, we really appreciate it, and I think it just, once again, adds to the support system, and thank you. And also with that, the grandparents have also been oftentimes very generous with their donations and contributing to this. So that is an important part too, because we want the grandparents to see the research and where that money is going and have the opportunity to meet some of these doctors and see, we make a lot of things happen with little money go a long ways. We've got a number of families from Canada and France. Are they in the room? Bonjour. Where are they? There we go. There we go. We usually have a couple. Every year we have a couple people from other countries, so welcome very much. Good. In the room, and just for the sake of time, we've got a number of professionals that, yesterday at George Washington University, since we're already bringing in a lot of these doctors to present at the Cure JM conference, it's been almost 10 years ago, we started doing a medical conference for the medical community. And so since we already bring in the JM experts to present at this conference, we've always partnered in the last 10 years with a local medical facility to have these same doctors present grand rounds and share some case studies with other local doctors and share the advancements on research. And what it does is it helps share the information and gets these doctors together so they can learn more. But I would say even more importantly, like yesterday at the event, where we probably had about 120 people maybe in the room over at George Washington University Medical School of Health Sciences, that over there, hearing the presentations is great, but people only retain so much in that. But what's more important with all those doctors coming together is they make the personal connections and professional connections, and I think it leads to greater collaboration, or sometimes they get started talking about this research and that research, and it facilitates some brainstorming amongst the group, and so that collaboration. But let's have our doctors stand up that are here, that we got represented today. These guys work incredibly hard, and they're so talented and so passionate, but, they're here on a Saturday, and they traveled away from their families and that, and they come every year, and really excited to the additional information they're going to share today at the program. So thank you, and thank you for being here. Before we get started, I'd like to where's Christine? Where is Christine? Christine, there you are. There's Christine. So Christine Aldifer is a board member, and she's been the ringleader, although there is an army of people underneath this, whether it's Shannon and our Intel fellows and Lauren, and so there is an army of people that help make this event, but she's the ringleader of this, and she's a very professional board member. She's very passionate and is always cheering on and always kind of looking for what's the next best thing. She's a ton, if you get to know Christine, she's a ton of fun. And why is she a ton of fun and so passionate and so, spending all the nights and weekends and coordinating this is she's got these two beautiful daughters. It's her daughter, Kathleen, who's one of a twin with her sister, Caroline. But they are so sweet, and, Catherine's got juvenile myositis, and I know because I used to coordinate these conferences, is this doesn't happen easily unless you've got a very incredibly supportive husband. And so Alan's behind her, cheering her along, and probably has to listen to venting and the blood, sweat, and tears that come along the way. But also you can see he has fun. And we do all of this as a labor of love to try and find a cure for our kids. So Christine, on behalf of everybody here, you are a rock star. I know your family knows it, but in organizing this event for all of us and our benefit, thank you for your efforts and your very supportive family. So here's our objectives in terms of why we're all here today. It is about JM families learning from other JM families because we've been down this journey and path and want to support others. But it's also to hear from the experts. We've got some great talented doctors here that are so passionate about it that it's, once again, it's about supporting each other, but also knowing we are making progress with research for better treatments. These events continue to grow, but also as you'll see, the growing of the chapters is really an extension of what's in this room in terms of making more local and regional, and we're expanding that JM community as support, because otherwise you feel like you're really on an island. Fundraising for research. Nothing happens here. I mean, it's not like we've got big pharmaceuticals or government groups funding research and that. It really comes down to our grassroots efforts and asking different, places. And, you got the pins on your chairs. CSI Pharmaceuticals is one of our sponsors. Unless you ask people to help support our cause, it's not like we've got, tons of money coming from different places because we're like many other 5,000 orphan diseases. And, and so it really comes down to us. So hopefully you'll be inspired from this and will help us with this. There's great research going on. Those posters last night was the first time we did the posters like that. And for the different research studies that we've funded in that as a part of the research funding, it's participating in this conference. And it's kind of for a couple purposes. We want our JM families to see what activities and where some of those dollars are going and learn more about the research. But also I think it's good for the doctors, connecting with the families, and it gives kind of that head and the heart connection and being able to, they do want to know what families think in that. So I think it's provided that great opportunity to share research, ask questions. Tonight will be a fantastic event because, as you'll soon see, there's a ton of people that have made this organization successful. So recognize those contributions and certainly have fun. You'll see photos. You'll see Julie Kane is our traveling photographer. She's a friend of a JM parent, Susie Clement, and she's been traveling with us in that, but she'll be going around and taking pictures and getting, you'll see the pictures of the kids in the kids' room, and they are having a blast. But once again, learning from each other, sharing our stories, and that it is about having some fun while we're here and make new friends. So just briefly, a little bit about what Cure JM is about. Who are we? Why were we formed? We're primarily led by JM families. We do have some staff that we've put in place in the last couple of years to help us run the organization. But it's quite simply, it's to find a cure, better treatments, and really improve the lives that do get diagnosed with juvenile myositis. It started very much to three co-founders, Sherry and Tom, who are intimately involved today, just as probably as much as they were back in 2003 when they formed this organization with another grandparent. This was our first conference in 2006. It was around the Chicago Marathon, and we probably had about 35 family members, not 35 families, probably 12 families and extended family members. But that was kind of our first conference, and it was up in Chicago, and we had Dr. Pochman, because we were like, well, we're already there, and we got these families. Maybe Dr. Lauren Pochman will talk to us about it. So it was really super small. And then here was last year in Austin. So Austin rocked, but I think even tomorrow, it looks like it's going to be a nice day, I think. And this was our conference and how it's grown. And the point is really about, and when I get to a few slides of, how the organization is run and how we get families involved, it really is about creating a village of people that have a similar passion and desire to make a difference and really put this in our rearview mirrors. And so it's not any one individual, but it's all of us in this room and the extended families that weren't able to make it, but might be on the watching on the webcast. I'd suggest in your packet or out on the table, I know there's the impact report. Sherry Hume and a team of individuals really helped try and put together what have we done over the last year in terms of our impact report. So do take a look at it, because I'm not going to give justice today in terms of some of the things that we've done as an organization. But this is just a few things in terms of really creating a patient database of 2,500 families. I know it doesn't sound a lot, but when you're an orphan disease that only impacts 2 to 3 children out of 1 million, trying to get a database like this as a repository of information regarding families is really challenging. And this is a healthy database, and we continue to partner with some other organizations to get patient databases that can be used for future research. We've got 3 research centers. We're looking to expand to more research centers of excellence where people can get both treatment and care by doctors that really specialize in juvenile myositis. We've invested approximately $12 million in research and programs. We've got over 170 research studies, and we continue to tap other institutions and now expanding a little bit more internationally as well. Okay. So this just gives you a perspective in terms of some of the additional kind of funded studies that we've been doing as an organization. And in addition to the studies, just like yesterday, also the educational program at George Washington University Medical School. Back in May 2017, from around the globe, there was this global conference on myositis that Cure JM helped support. It was here in the D.C., Maryland area, and it had 300 myositis-related doctors that all flew in for a whole program. And so, once again, that's how research and that's how some of the brainstorming of what the next big ideas, or what I'd call puzzle pieces, because I like to keep it simple. What are the next puzzle pieces to figure out how you get to better treatments and a cure for Cure JM? Okay. Once again, none of this would be possible without all of you, because it really has been the collective efforts of the entire Cure JM community. So thank you for being here. It's also important to us as a board in terms of how we run the organization to understand what it requires to be a top-rated nonprofit in terms of fiduciary responsibility, audit, oversight, appropriate amount of spending on research and programs, and glad to say and very proud to say that the different rating organizations out there for nonprofits, we always continue to get the top ratings on these. So it's doing great work, but doing it in the right way. once again, I have the privilege of being up here and sharing kind of this introduction and giving a little bit of background, particularly since we have so many new families that are here. But it really is the collective effort of this team. So for the board of directors that are in the room, can you please stand? Okay. Yes. Thank you. Thank you. We've been working over the last couple years on some succession planning, like any good organization does for their leadership teams. And so at the end of September, I will be stepping down as chairman. I'll still be involved in the organization, but we've been working on succession, and we've got Matali Dave, who will, where's Matali? There's Matali. Matali will be backfilling me as the next chair of Cure JM, and we've got Nikki Hahn here in the front row, who will be then backfilling Matali in the role of president. So we've got succession happening at the end of September. That's the kind of beginning of our next fiscal year. And then we've also got Sherry and Tom Hume, who are, as I mentioned, the original co-founders and still so passionately involved. And I think for an organization that's been around for almost 15 years, it's phenomenal to see their engagement and continuation in terms of driving us towards their original vision for this organization. But I'm also thrilled succession planning doesn't happen unless you've got a pipeline of talent coming in terms of strong people that bring leadership skills and that. And so very thrilled to have most recently Kevin Coffey and Tracy Van Ness join the board as well. Where's Tracy and Kevin? Oh, there they are. In the last couple years, we've started to really create chapter events because this national conference happens kind of once every 12, 15 months, and we rotate it around. And the connections and, you know, people say it's invaluable when they come to this event because they're no longer on that island and they feel like they've got great, you know, information and support from other families. But you know, getting together once every 12 or 15 months just really wasn't enough. And so we've started to now create these regional chapters that meet more frequently, and whether it's just kind of support or getting, you know, with some doctors that are locally, or creating a fundraising event, just, you know, or just kind of connecting socially. So over the last couple of years, we've got 15 chapters across the United States. Where's our chapter chairs? If you can stand. Okay. So for all those new people that stood up at the beginning of this, you know, introduction, you know, while you're here, it'd be a great time. It's one thing to be emailing and talking to people, but if you can get eyeball to eyeball with your chapter chair and get to know them and they get to know you and talk about what you're passionate about. Because when I talk about the different, you know, all these people that are involved in Cure JM and these leadership roles, it really is tapping into what are they passionate about? What do they like to do? What's, you know, because you're taking their free time, and all of us are giving up our free time that we could be doing other things. But it's really kind of connecting with them, and so connect with your chapter chair, and if they're here and you're in their region and that, meet face to face, because it's a great opportunity to get to know each other. And if you've got some passion and talents that you want to put to work for a great cause, it'd be a great opportunity to talk about that. Okay, so National Leadership Council is kind of the extension of our chapters and other representatives for the families. So I'm not going to go through all the names in that, but you know, we've got walk chairs, we've got family outreach chairs, we've got the Family Support Network representatives. So round of applause for them. Within each one of the chapters, we also have sub-teams and committees that divide up different things, whether it's putting on the Walk Strong events or local fundraisers or educational events. So let's give them a round of applause. Oops, skipped one. And then we've got, you know, we've got the southern chapters and the western chapters as well. So once again, most of those people on those different groups in that have really been around the parents for the most part, or some grandparents, but we do have some in the National Leadership Council. We've got some young adults leading some efforts in helping drive, you know, whether it's things on resources on the website or outreach to other teens or young adults. We've got Anna Ramsey, Sammy Martin, and Morgan Gleason. I I think, I know I saw Anna was running a little bit late, but we've got a team council with that. So if you've got a young adult that's interested in doing more and getting more involved, there's a way of doing that, as well as with our grandparents. We got Marianne Van Ness. Where's Marianne? Marianne, you're usually in the first row. Where's Marianne? There she is. Oh, she's down over there. Marianne Van Ness is, she's leading the National Grandparent Council. So if we've got some grandparents interested in getting more involved, stand up, Marianne. There's Marianne. So great opportunity to connect while you're here. Okay. So as I mentioned, Cure JM is primarily led by volunteers, JM family members, an extension of some friends. And but a couple years ago at a strategic meeting, we get together as a board and we meet for a couple days over a weekend. And we usually just kind of all fly in Chicago because it's central, and we don't even leave the hotel except for dinner. And we meet for 2 days, and it's like pretty intense because it's a strategic planning meeting, and we're mapping out where we want to go as an organization. And it was a couple years ago that we had a lot of debate and discussion because we took such great pride that we're an organization led by, all volunteers. All of our money goes to research, 98%, and, so proud in that. But we're all kind of getting kind of burnt out, and, we don't know what we don't know what we don't know. And then there was another element of, after we really kind of did some research of other nonprofit organizations, we're like, we're holding ourselves back. We're holding ourselves back. We need dedicated staff to help drive things forward faster. And we need someone that's helped build a nonprofit organization that, raises millions of dollars and gets bigger grants and funding. And so anyway, in the spirit of, hey, we need to invest in talent to help grow this organization, and that meant staff. So we first added Jim Minot, that you'll hear from just shortly, who brings over 20 years of experience in a number of fabulous nonprofit organizations. And he's just helped us grow so much in terms of our own development, our own strategy, evolving it forward, but getting that medical community connection in a more strategic way. So he's been incredibly helpful. We've had Shannon Malloy working on a lot of the operations day to day, really the, central point of all communications for us. But over the last couple of years, we recognize with these chapters coming up and all these Walk Strong events, if we want families to lead these Walk Strong events year over year, we need to be sure we're supporting these chapters and supporting the people that are doing these Walk Strong events. And that means getting back to them timely or helping them, give them more, materials, and just really coaching them. The local chapters are leading these events, but help coach them along the way and answer their questions in that. So we've most recently added both Lauren Alvarad and Simonetta Di Finero. Simonetta, are you here? Lauren? Are they? Stand up. There we go. There's Lauren. Where's Simonetta? Is Simonetta here? She might be out at one of the tables. But anyway, for those chapters that are doing Walk Strong events, we kind of took the U.S. and split it. And so we've got more support for those walks to help make those successful, and also where you do want to do them year after year. And then most recently, we added Claire Johnston to be our communications manager to help us with the outreach and even like summarizing all the details from this, but also when you saw those posters last night, working with the doctors and getting those layman terms pulled together and just really kind of help translate that for us. And so we've got Claire that most recent joined our team, as well as Karen, who's supporting Jim and the board and others on our team, just in terms of administration and that. So, but believe me, Cure JM will always be led primarily by volunteers and JM families, because it's our passion and it's something that we do want to achieve our mission. Okay. So with that, welcome. I'm going to turn it over to Sherry Hume, but hopefully this gave you a pretty good background in terms of today's objectives, and I think I'll hand it over to Sherry. Thank you.
Hello, I'm Sherry Hume, co-founder. As Rhonda mentioned, volunteers are the backbone of our organization. We simply would not and could not exist without our volunteers, which includes many of you here today. 3 of CureJM Foundation's longtime volunteers and current board members and my dear friends will be leaving their board positions in October. And we wanted to recognize their leadership and their inspiration today and present them with a special memory book. Amy Gleason has served as Director and VP of Research, as well as Florida Chapter President, and she's been with CureJM for 8 years. Amy's first fundraiser was a marathon, followed by a triathlon, and she advocates for awareness of CureJM at every opportunity she can find. My fondest memory of Amy was during the Pepsi challenge, where we were trying to win $250,000, and you had to text a number to vote for CureJM, or you had to call, or you had to do something on the internet. And so Amy was at a hotel, and she went down and she got everyone in the bar in the lobby to text for CureJM. And do you remember that? Everyone would do anything. You know, if you had a bullhorn or anything, you would do anything to help us win, and we won it. So Amy, do you want to come up? And we've got a special gift for you. And Amy, I think you're going to stay on as Florida Chapter President, right? No pressure right now, but so can you stay up here? Okay. So let's go on to Patty Lawler. Where are you, Patty? Hi. So Patty, I'm just glad that we don't live in the same area, because we only see each other like a few times a year, and we only get like 2 hours of sleep a night. So Patty has served as Secretary and VP of Research. She's been with CureJM for 9 years, and she and her family started out holding Golf for Megan events, F-O-R-E, just helping you out there in case you want to do that. So she did that for multiple years prior to joining the board, and she was instrumental in establishing our medical advisory board, and she also developed our scientific peer review process to help us prioritize our allocation of research investments. Her leadership and knowledge has played an integral role in the growth of CureJM, and she will continue on advocating for CureJM. She asked if there's a bottle of wine in there. It's a little early. Okay. And Rhonda Mckeever, our current chairwoman, has been with CureJM for 13 years. And Rhonda, since we have so many new people, I get to share the story just really quickly. When she first contacted me, she said, I want to hold a conference, and along with a marathon, I want to bring Dr. Pockman in and about 50 runners and raise $100,000. And I was on the phone, and okay, if you think you can do that. So yeah, I wasn't sure if she was crazy or sane or what, but anyway, we raised $250,000 instead, and I think we had 100 runners, and it was the start of these annual conferences, and they've continued to grow. I think at that particular one, I think there were maybe 30 families, and now we're up to 100, 120 families. So she continued to run those conferences for about 7 years, and until Christine took over, and the conferences have raised, I think in total, about $2 million as we continue to raise money through these. Rhonda's strategic insight and exemplary leadership have been a driving force behind CureJM's growth and momentum. Rhonda will continue to volunteer, and she's said that she's going to start establishing running teams again. So, Rhonda, do you want to comment up? So there's a saying that if you want something done, ask a busy person, and these 3 people definitely exemplify this quote. in their free time, Rhonda, who has an MBA, is a vice president for Xylem, a global water solutions company. Patty, a registered nurse who has a master's of science in oncology nursing, is a part-time clinical supervisor of an outpatient oncology practice and nurse coordinator of an anticoagulation and thrombosis center. Amy, also a registered nurse, is a co-founder and chief strategy officer of an electronic medical records company. Both Patty and Rhonda have been honored with the CureJM Legacy Leadership Award for making an exceptional, long-lasting impact on CureJM and the advancement of JM research. And Amy has been honored with the CureJM Hero Award, as well as the Champion of Change for Precision Medicine Award from the White House in 2015 for doing extraordinary things to empower and inspire members of her community. Their complete list of accomplishments at CureJM would keep us here through lunchtime. And so just suffice it to say that their impact has been transformational and will live long beyond their tenure. Despite the unfortunate circumstances and unspeakable challenges of JM, I think we all realize that our lives become indescribably enriched by the people we meet in this journey. Rhonda, Patty, and Amy are three such people. Thank you for dedicating your heart and soul to CureJM and for having the courage and compassion to fight for a better future for all of our heroes battling JM. One more gift. So I was in the elevator yesterday with Patty, and someone asked us where the registration table was. And I covered up my co-founder thing, and I said, I don't know. I honestly did not know what floor the registration was on, and she was going to the third floor. She's probably in here. She was going to the third floor, and I said, maybe the third floor? And Patty said, I think it's lower level. And we really didn't know, and then we just started laughing, and she's the co-founder. And I said, well, she's on the board. and so I think it was just interesting because at the very beginning of these conferences, we did everything we knew where everything was and every little detail. But as we've moved forward, now Christine does all that. So I just wanted to, again, as Rhonda did, thank Christine for all that she does. She puts her heart and soul into this and makes it run so smoothly. It seems like it's just every detail is thought through by Christine, and she makes it, she starts at the event planning a year in advance and has worked so hard on this. And she's also running other events. She does a Christmas show and, she's doing so many things at once. And she definitely, there's a quote that volunteers don't necessarily have the time, they just have the heart, and that's definitely Christine. And I just wanted to give you this, and yours does have a bottle of wine, really.
She knows the way to my heart.
Yeah. So, thank you.
I just want to say,
Yeah, go ahead.
I could never do all of this without the awesome people that helped. Shannon, Jim, Tom, Matali. This is really a group effort. And I so appreciate all of you being here. I hope you can join us next year in Chicago. And again, we have a great team of people, and we all do this for all of our children. So thank you so much for being here. Thank you.